Previously on Historical Geocaching. I'm visiting Mission San Luis in Tallahassee, Florida, an amazing living history museum that preserves the stories of the Spanish and Appalachian Native Americans in the late 1600s. Most recently, I've chatted with an interpreter about the construction and function of the Appalachian Council House.
Senora and Senor. The Senor owns a cattle ranch or a hacienda, like I said earlier, and they have a little bit of money. So I'm a farmer and I'm married to a soldier at the fort, and we don't make that much money. I can make money from selling and trading crops. He can make money as his yearly wages as a soldier, but it's, we get by. But our home is much, much smaller than this. So every day, the children are going to wake up and start the chores. And who's the eldest child? You look like the eldest. So you get this bed. Everybody see the little bench in the corner? So this is the bed for the eldest child, and he or she gets up every morning before the parents, before mom and dad, and she goes and grabs the yoke on the wall. You see that wooden contraption on the wall?
Yep.
That's called a yoke, and you put it on your shoulders. It's not for an animal. And you grab those buckets and you go towards the fort and you get water. And you do that about 12 times a day. Does that sound fun? No.
Ooh, there's water.
So, is there anything in the home that you don't see? Do you think there's something missing in here? Yeah, well, we don't have a stove or hearth in this house. And that's because it's really small and it's really dangerous to cook inside. So we cook everything outside. So the fire pit is outside to the left of the home, if you want to go look at that.
So what did they do for refrigeration of preserving food? Was it salt?
Lots of salted food, lots of smoked food, dried beans, dried grains, and preserving things in fat. So preserving things in olive oil, or if you cooked something or cooked something down, maybe you made a preserve. You had honey, you had fat to make seals, you had beeswax to seal things. So plenty of ways to make sure that your food didn't go bad. And you just ate food every day and you ate it all and you tried not to have leftovers. But if you had leftovers, you put it up here out of the way of little critters. And this is called a rat rack. And it's just a place to keep any things that are still kind of fresh that you might want to eat the next morning or later in the day. And it also keeps it away from any little children that want to get things. Maybe Senora made some chocolate and she doesn't want you to drink it because she's waiting for her husband to get home so we can all enjoy it. And she'll put it up there. So we actually have a special pot for chocolate. This is called a chocolatera. And do you know where we get chocolate? Can you guess?
Is it from a plant somewhere down in Mexico?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, cacao grows down in Mexico. And we trade with Mexico, we trade with Cuba, and we get a lot of fun stuff down from down south. So chocolate is one thing that if you have the money, and this family would have had that money, then you can import some chocolate, or you can purchase it from the merchants that come. So what we'll do is we'll boil some hot water, or if we have a dairy cow, which some of the families do, especially if they own cattle ranches, boil some milk, make that hot. We put in our ground chocolate, and we just plunge it. And it gets frothy and delicious. Maybe we have some honey. If you're really fancy, you have sugar. But maybe you just have a little bit of honey, or you don't have anything and you just drink it like that. And it's delicious and You can add in any spices. You could add cinnamon. You could add maybe some pepper. And that would be a nice warm drink to have, especially in the wintertime when it would be really, really cold. So everybody gets a little chocolate before they go to sleep, and maybe you just play some games or something before you go to bed. Or you wake up and you want some chocolate because it's cold. Or you just want chocolate. Everybody wants chocolate. So we also store things in terracotta, and the clay keeps things really cool too, so. So go ahead and put, that's called a trivet. Go ahead and put that down right on that stone. Yes. So what we'll do is first thing in the morning, when you're getting water, you're on your way back, we're starting this fire and getting it going. It's maybe 5 o'clock in the morning. And we're getting the fire going, and we make sure that we put our pot and our trivet next to our fire even before we've gotten it started. Because when we cook with terracotta or clay, we have to be really careful not to heat it too quickly. Because if we heat it too quickly, what do you think can happen? It would crack. It would crack. It would break. And these are really nice pots. These come from Mexico. Some of them even come from Spain. And the Senora does not want to replace it. So we would just make sure that we take really good care of these. So we don't cook directly over the fire. We cook with coals. So we make a big fire, we get lots of coals going. Maybe maybe 2 hours, 3 hours of just building this fire and getting coals. And then once we have lots of coals, we start putting them underneath of our trivet, and that's how we cook. So we just continuously put new logs on the fire and put new coals underneath of our food. And once we have it hot enough, things cook really fast. So we can get a stew boiling fairly quickly, and we try to have the main meal of the day done by noon. So you can imagine how long that takes. But we try to make lots of stuff. We'll make, maybe a stew with some chicken or beef or pork or fish, if we have fish. And then maybe some bread, maybe some roasted potatoes or sweet potatoes or pumpkin, whatever we have around. And especially if we have a big family, we're going to be needing to make a lot of food to keep everybody happy, feed everybody in the morning, and then for the afternoon meal, and then we would just have any leftovers for dinner. And if we ate it all, then we would just have maybe some cured sausage, maybe some cheese, maybe some olives, maybe some milk, eggs, whatever we had. The Spanish families are going to have little house gardens, as well as the native families are going to have something right next to their home where they can grow medicinal herbs as well as some cooking herbs. So we have a lot of European herbs will be brought over with the Spanish, so things like yarrow, aloe, and fennel, bay, rosemary, thyme, oregano, a lot of those traditional cooking herbs. But we also have some native things like the pink echinacea. And then this is a fun one. This is called dog fennel, and it smells like fennel, but it's not edible. It's used specifically to ward away bugs and pests. So the natives in the area will cut these down when they're fresh and tall like this and just spread them at the base of their home, or if they are keeping animals, they can put them around the animals and it will keep away fleas, roaches, all sorts of little critters that you don't want around. So this is a little bay tree. These are great because you can just pluck them off and put them in the stew when we're cooking. This is a pine needle basket.
Okay.
And these are just made of pine needles and sinew, and the Appalachian make these, and it's a really traditional craft. And some of the other native tribes even have very specific types of baskets that they make that they'll come once a week and they trade in the plaza. So there's a huge trade center between the native groups in the area, all up into southern Georgia, over into the Carolina areas. People will come for all sorts of things to trade and to sell.